all the outside clamor most of my life fed me lies about who I am because I fed off it and added to it and added to it. And of course, the story grew. And that's the story I told myself for years was I was always what they said, finding what works for you. And I push that a lot because nobody fits the same build. And to recover and to change your life, you might have to go this way where I went that way. Or you might just need to continue straight forward and you're going to end up where you end up. Give people, whoever you're seeing them, give them a good month of weekly visits or something like that before you form an opinion, because the person could be the one that's supposed to save your life.
What it is about this growth journey that I've been on of self-love and understanding that when you truly love yourself, you then can show up for other people,
Mm-hmm.
um, and bring the best of you so they can see the best in themselves.
Hello, welcome to the Healing Millions podcast. Today, I have an honor and privilege to have amazing Lisa and Scott Brearley from Canada. I'm so excited you're here. I have never had a couple on my podcast, and this episode is going to be very special because we are going to talk about crisis and how to manage crisis and how to recover from crisis. And Lisa and Scott, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to my podcast.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nina.
Thanks for
Appreciate
inviting
it.
us.
Yeah, we appreciate it very much.
Before we start our conversation, I would love to ask you to introduce yourself to my audience. Who is Lisa? Who is Scott? Tell us more about your amazing work and how you help humanity.
I'm Lisa Brearley, and I recently, with Scott as well, became a crisis and recovery coach, which I know, Nina, you had mentioned in the beginning, talking about crisis, and I'm excited to bring my experiences and skills kind of to that area of helping others find where they want to go in life, to support them in that. And very excited, a few years ago, decided to write books. Came to an understanding that I am worthy of being heard. That was a huge thing for me. And am able to bring my teaching career as an elementary school teacher to both my coaching and the way I show up in life. So I have many, many blessings and many, many things to be grateful for. And I'm excited to kind of get into more of those conversations in our conversation today with you, Nina. And I'll
Thank you.
introduce my special husband, my amazing husband, Scott.
Hey, everybody. Scott Brearley here. Uh, you know, my story is I was almost killed when I was 7 by a car, tragic accident. So I've lived my whole life up to date in a lot of pain. I've functioned in every aspect of physicality. Like, I don't suffer from any of that other than pain. I suffered from addiction at an early age, and I stuck around 12-step programs going back for the solution after the solution, and I'd mess up and go back. And the biggest thing is what I want to advocate in life is don't stick with one thing. If it's not, and if it's working, it's working. But if it's not working and you keep doing the same results, reach out in different directions. I'm an author, and I know my first book, for me, I look back and it was just kind of a dumping book to get my story out there. I'm working on a second book that's going to change that a little bit. This year, like Lisa was saying, we got certified as coaching or crisis
And
and
recovery.
recovery coaches. Uh, I've done all sorts of stuff to enhance my life. And as of late, as you've noticed, my brain isn't quite working as fluently as possible. However, though, I know how to get healthy again. And the other big thing is change the story you tell yourself. That's where our journey starts. It's like you're worth it. And as soon as you start telling yourself you're worth it, life evolves.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Lisa, for introducing yourself. I would love to know, you could be any coach in the world. Why crisis and recovery coach?
It's an interesting story because when Scott and I were writing our first book, There was another two authors, another couple, who were also writing their first book with the same editor publisher that we were using. And so on the day of their big reveal of their book coming out, um, I'm like, Scott, I know these guys. We need to get this book. It's looks like amazing topic. And it was on the whole 12 steps at 12 steps. However, it was the understanding of brain health first, and understanding that we can, excuse me, we can make changes to help our brain and to make it healthier. And so we got this book and it's like, let's reach out to these people because it was a topic that we were both extremely interested in. Scott had already achieved his um, life coach certification. And I was just kind of ending my teaching career a little bit at that point. And we knew we wanted to work together. So we contacted Dave and Susan Kenny of Emergo Academy, and they said, yeah, we have this crisis and recovery coaching program. It's right up your alley. And we looked into it and like, yes, it is right up our alley. So the big takeaway for me as a crisis recovery coach is to grow my level of curiosity in regards to supporting people to help find their way when they feel stuck or lost or in a crisis sort of moment. Um, but it's not that I'm there to solve their problem, but to guide them in on the path they want to achieve. And that was kind of the big aha moment for me. And so that's for me, that's why the crisis and recovery coaching was such an attractor. And it wasn't only that I was able to use that or we are able to use that in our coaching, but can do that in everyday life, which to me is incredible, an incredible skill. But
For me, I lived most of my life in crisis mode, which is a really draining and like physicality, the stuff that we give ourselves, the diseases. And that's kind of why I want to be the crisis coach, and because it's right up my alley. And like I said, my whole life. Uh, and you know what? I want people to know it's different and you can find a solution, because I didn't think I would ever find my solution. And now it's like I'm happy and content, and life has just went where before the funnel was always backwards.
And how exactly crisis and recovery coach helps people in that very challenging situation? What are the first steps somebody can take with you to help themselves in that moment?
Well, the first couple steps for me is just having a few appointments with them, getting to know each other and building the trust. Because if you don't get some sort of trust in there, you can't be helpful to anybody. And it's funny because trust is a real fragile thing. I just had some stuff that happened with my doctors, and I immediately triggered that antitrust. And then it's like, once again, one of my biggest things is change the story you're telling yourself. Maybe it's just miscommunication, because we all know when you're texting, well, they're emailing back and forth. So maybe they just wrote something and the person's taking it in his own contents rather than it making it negative.
yeah, so establishing that trust, and here's like one example, of the style or type of coaching that we do. There's a really important activity called the red line, green line, and I don't know if you can explain that as well. But having our clients walk through the process of red line being the place either you don't want to go to, and the green line being you do, or you would like that ending or that a goal to accomplish. And so walking through those two paths of, well, if you're on the red line, what are the things you're going to notice and see along that way? Or if you choose that green line and that more positive outcome that you want to achieve, what are those steps along the way? So that's just a kind of a simplified explanation as to what the coaching and recovery coaching that we do. crisis and recovery coaching that we do with our clients.
The other big part is we we just guide them towards their answer, and
Yeah.
they come up with their answer because I have no answer for them. I can ask them questions that will help trigger answers, and that's the only power, strength I have. Not to change you, not to make you grow. It's all up to you. And see, that's for years I thought when I went and seen people, it's like, why aren't they helping me? Well, I'm not helping myself, so how can I get help from them if you're not helping yourself? So
Yeah, I think instilling that level of um, awareness and confidence and growth in themselves,
yeah.
that's where they start to expand.
What challenges do your clients have before they come to you? What are the life situation they need help with, and how recovery coach can help clients?
Mostly some sort of addiction, which I look at it as like this. It's just not drugs and alcohol. I was addicted to anger for years. People are addicted to like silly things to crazy things, and it's all of the answers are just the same solution, finding what works for you. And I push that a lot because nobody fits the same build, and to recover and to change your life you might have to go this way where I went that way, and or you might just need to continue straight forward, and you're going to end up where you end up, because life, you never know where the story that unfolds for us.
And we might be part of our client's journey, not the answer. We are part of, because, we kind of work with the brain and the understanding that you can work from now and for your future, right? So you work today, you work today, you work today, and not the rehashing of all the past and rehashing and the rehashing and the reliving. However, some people do need to seek out other help to support with that. That's really not where our
No.
stance is necessarily. Um, and we are the guides, right, to sort of challenge your mindset into how and what you're thinking about on a daily basis, and how we can then look at that process to get you to the goal that you want to achieve.
So, do I hear this correctly? You help your clients see the future for themselves and create the life from the future, not from the past.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And you
But
help them that by helping them rewire their brain and looking inside to find the answers.
Yes. And in so having those discussions via online or in person, but mostly online, and understanding, I guess, coming to more information of it's not always about a conversation only. There are other things that come into play that you do on a daily basis. I know we've looked a lot at health or physical activity or whatever it is that may support your mindset, right? And understanding that as well. That's very important.
well, and diet's pretty big. Like
Yeah.
if you're going to continue eating crappy, your body has a hard time processing, and it'll be on the other side of the halfway mark.
Yeah, so we're kind of part of that journey, that discussion, that we don't have all your answers. However, we know there's several things in life that you need to look at if you're not sleeping well, or if your digestive system's not working, or if you're not getting any activity or exercise, or even downtime, me time, you time, and that sort of thing. So there's lots that comes into play for you to achieve what you want to achieve on that green line.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I would love to explore how you two, because you are both coaches and you work together, live together. Do you often coach each other?
No.
We talked about that. We talked about that.
Well, I shouldn't say that because I'll use this example, and it's kind of funny, actually. I'm sitting in my lazy boy, my friend's here, and she's talking about her husband's t-shirt addiction. And I got a t-shirt addiction. And I got mass amounts, and I'm going, and I just put I sorted them out, and I put two totes in the garage, and Lisa's like, no, you put one. The other one's still in the walk-in closet. And I'm like, no, I didn't. So we went back and forth a couple times. And then all of a sudden, she walks into the walk-in closet and goes, "Oh, you're right." So my brain tells me she's checking up on me and she wants to prove me wrong. And I went to say something, and then I just went, "Nope, you just need to leave it alone," because we always don't need to say anything. The whole story could be just for us. And I ended up talking to Phyllis, my AA mom, and she goes, "Lisa wouldn't do that." And I said, "I know." So what the story is, she went in to check to see if she knew what she was talking
I
about.
was like,
Now, in the past, I would have gotten angry at whoever I was with. How dare you check up on me? And all of a sudden, there's a huge positive outcome because we did talk about it. And that's the way I guess we coach each other. We allow each other the freedom to talk about our insanities, because that is insanity, because it's all my stuff. And yeah, you get a win-win out of it.
and the grace to have conversations and hearing each other and listening to each other is key. Like for example, I'm having a sort of a moment with helping my son with something, and we were talking back and forth about it and discussing what we can do, what our options are. And he comes back to me and says, "What how do you feel about the way I was kind of expressing myself and talking to you about this?" And so just having that open-ended question and the fact that he's ready to hear and listen, and we do that both with each other, like, that's extremely important. So that understanding that, like, we're grounded in many, many, many ways, and, um, and then that way we can support each other, and open and honesty with grace and respect, and those things come into play.
Because it goes back to another big thing I like to say, it's all up to you. Nobody else is going to do it. And that's us doing it, not
Yeah.
going, "Oh, I wish I had that over there." And it's only a wish. Just go do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're allowed to make mistakes, and we're allowed to talk about it, and we're allowed to say, "What do you think? Would you got an idea?" And then we're allowed to stop and think about it, and it's not that's one thing I'm learning. I'm very quick to kind of go, "Idea, go do it." It's like, "Okay, I'm just going to slow down here and I'm going to think about it." Yeah, it's an amazing way to be in a relationship.
Well, what do we get into relationships for? I used to have a real big issue with this word in this contents, partner. Because the age we're like, I'm older, and where I come from, that meant something different. And I would get triggered by it, but it's the truth. What do you want? A wife in your life, or do you want a partner in your life? Because to me, partner is a step up from a wife. And it's like, I only want the best for Lisa, and she only wants the best for me. And I won't say that's 100%, not like it's 90% of the time. Like there's 10% where it's like we're at odds with each other. Actually, this year it was our 3rd wedding anniversary. We spent all day at odds with each other. However, this is us being at odds with each other. I'm at odds with you right now, and I'm not sure what to process, so I need to process. And that's the extent of. And then at
And
the
it's
end of the day,
okay.
we shared how we were both feeling. And did we have an anniversary day? No, not really. But in a sense, we
We
did,
did.
because we showed each other how solid we are for each other by allowing us to the freedom to
To grow, to
grow.
feel, to
Yeah.
process, yeah. It's a cool
That's
place to be in.
That's really beautiful when you have a partner who understands you a much deeper level, is able to help you with coaching tools and just to learn and know how to listen to you when you need it most. It's really, really precious. And I love what you mentioned here. Like sometimes we need to listen to each other. And I want my wife to be my partner. That's beautifully said. Thank you so much for sharing that with our listeners. For somebody who is in the middle of crisis right now, whether it's divorce or grief or career change, what is the first thing they can do to help themselves?
First thing is to reach out. That is very first thing. And I know we hadn't mentioned our website yet. However, it's forwardwalkingchoices.com. And there is a story to that I don't know if you'd like to share that after. But um, in terms of the first step, reaching out, like that is a step. It can be very, very scary.
Oh,
And I've had a client just reach out on Messenger, and all of a sudden we're like she didn't go through the website or anything, just reach out, connect. And the amazing conversation, the connection that we were able to establish just from that level of trust, like
Mhm.
Scott was talking about, like that to me is monumental. Making that first step. Would you like to share what forward walking
Yep.
choices means? Because I think that was a big moment. Scott created that before we both became coaches together.
I created it. There's a native fellow, not sure of his name. He's on,
I forget his name, yeah.
I've seen it on Facebook, and he's talking about making forward walking choices or backward walking choices.
Mm.
And what side of the plane do you want to be on? And he also talks, it's like it's only up to you. He doesn't say it in those words, but the way he says it, it's only up to us to make the decision what way we're going to walk. And, you know, all the outside clamor most of my life fed me lies about who I won't say they made me who I am, because I fed off it and added to it and added to it. And of course the story grew, and that's the story I told myself for years, was I was always what they said. And uh when you can break away from the stories of other people and get down and dirty with yourself about you. I recently had to admit to my brother, I've always blamed it because he's a few years older than me, and of course he beat me up all the time, and I had some trauma around that. And I recently, from listening to this ADHD book, I had to go apologize to him for running him through the coals about it being his fault and him punching me out all the time, because taking some ownership with it, part of my ADHD behavior is to push people's buttons till I get what I want, and that's to get them mad. And that was pretty humbling, because all my life I've been like this, pointing the finger, and the story goes, how many fingers are pointing back when you point your finger?
you never know who you trigger with your behavior, and sometimes, not always, is the other person is guilty for what happened to us. we also we are also involved in that process as well.
Yeah, exactly. And hence, so then forward walking choices came to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
So for me, you were asking what's the first thing to do, is like Lisa said, as soon as you reach out, you've already know you got it, something's going on.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just keep going. And if you get to somewhere and you don't like them, well, it could be you. Give them a chance. Give people, whoever you're seeing them, give them a good month of weekly visits or something like that before you form an opinion, because the person could be the one that's supposed to save your life. Now, if you're seeing them for a year and they're not giving you any, you don't feel anything. However, how is your situation growing? I bet you it's grown a little bit just because you're going to see somebody. Reach out in every direction that you can, because you're worth it.
Yeah.
That's what I suggested in the beginning. Like,
And even that awareness is growth. And I think that's the big thing we need to remember, that you may go through that year and go, oh, I wasted my year. However, if you can look at it and go, it didn't work because, and this is what I do need. So then looking somewhere different.
Scott and Lisa, you mentioned you wrote your beautiful books, best-selling books. Scott, you mentioned that you shared your personal story inside the book. What really motivated you to write that book?
Lisa, I kind of started playing with it, and then all of a sudden she goes, I signed you up to do your book with Natasha Denman. She's a coach, or a book author coach. And it was like, okay, well, then I felt responsible that I had to get it done. And there was, it was healing.
Mm.
It was, like I said earlier, I think it was a little bit of a dump now. It helped enhance my family's life with me.
Mm.
I was not terrified, but I had just over the years started talking to my brother again, and now I'm risking this book out there, and is he going to get offended? And he didn't. It brought it. We had conversations about it, and it's opened it up. And we never know where we're going to help people, or we never know where we're going to influence people. And it's not even necessarily help, but just influence them. And that's why I'm started writing my second book, though, because I want it more about my journey of recovery. My last book was more the in between. I mean, at the end, it was a journey of recovery a little bit, but I want to talk about stuff that I've done along the way that have gotten me to where I am. Because everything that I've done, even if I look back and go, I wish I hadn't done that, it's brought me to today.
Mm.
And that's the biggest thing. If you're built like anything like me, I lived in yesterday all the time. So no wonder why this train wreck just got brought forward into your life today. Because it's all you've seen.
Do you have your book with you?
This is my book, My Perfect Storm. I won bestseller on Amazon, seller of the day. This book doesn't have it on. It's one of the first copies. However, though, it's kind of funny. Amazon decided they didn't want my book on, and no matter how hard I tried to prove that I was me and my book should be, so I've lost my Amazon account, and I'm not going to sign the same book because I won't get the Book of the Day award. And
You
so
can
yeah,
find it. You can find it
and
on our website, Word Walking Choices.
and it's also it's like the one other reason I wrote the book is for people with head injuries. Like I've lived my whole life with head injuries, and back when we were kids, it was still or when I was a kid, it was still meatball surgery. It's not like it is today. And I know today life would be different if I was 7 and got hit by a car. However, back then it was like, you're on your own, go. No help about brain injury, no help about any of that, where it could lead you. Where today they have the stuff to help you.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
I was his first editor, by the way. And of course, I didn't know a lot about Scott's past. I was still learning about him at the time. And it really, really hit home reading and helping him sort through the book. And as a
And
teacher, yes, the editor skills came out.
and the other thing that's cool is some of my friends that have read the book, it's brought us a little closer together. And some of the people that are just kind of on the outskirts, they're your friends, but they're on the outskirts that have bought my book. We just had a guy that we were talking to him the other day, and he goes, my book helped me understand you more and how you like acted. And he goes, well, the other thing it's helped me do is see people like that I see acting like you did or being different than I like, going, they can change. And being more open to them to change rather than being stuck like this, that's the way Scott is and he's not going to change. Because when other people get on board and help you open up, even though they don't talk that much, it still helps because it puts it out into the universe.
You said something that is really, really important. You never know who is going to receive help from your book and from your story, because very often we undervalue the life experience we have. But there's so much gold in that. There's so much wisdom that we get that we can share with others and help them change their lives. I really love what you said. And Lisa, you're also the best-selling author. Can you share a little bit about your book?
Yeah, so my first book, it all began when Scott and I had attended a personal development class, and it was goal setting. And I was kind of tossing around the idea of writing a story. And I know when I first started writing this book, the title was called Why Scott? And I was writing and I was like, maybe there's not enough in that. It didn't feel like there was enough in it for me. And I realized at that point, it's like, no, this is about me and my journey and what I'm going through. So my first book was about our year together, and my growth through that year. So my first book is called A Year of Love, and taking risks, big and small, finding my soulmate to win it all. And I think within that first year, we were calling each other soulmates, partners. We knew that the commitment to the relationship and to growth was there. 100% was there. And then literally within a few months of publishing this book, I'm like, I'm writing a second book. I love this writing thing. I got the writing bug. And we had spent our first 6 months in Thailand. And I began writing the book in that 6 months of Thailand. And by the end, I'm like, okay, I did it. I finished 6 months of love. Planes, scooters, bikes, and diving, not just surviving. I choose thriving. And I was slowly learning that life is incredible and is meant to really be lived. And it's interesting because my first book talking about, finding my soulmate, thinking Scott's my soulmate. And that's all I kept thinking was Scott's my soulmate. But literally by the last chapter of the second book, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm my own soulmate.
Mhm.
In regards to, I want the best for me. And that was kind of how I looked at a soulmate. Either you were looking for the best or seeing the best in me and reflecting that back so I could see that. I now knew that I was also wanting that for myself. And so I also, like Scott, is writing my next book, and I'm super super excited about it. I'm thinking I need to make it purple, pink and blue will be a purple cover. And the title for that one is just love. And so it is about this growth journey that I've been on of self-love and understanding that when you truly love yourself, you then can show up for other people,
Mhm.
um, and bring the best of you so you can put up your mirror and have reflect and so they can see the best in themselves. So that's my journey with my adult books. And like I was saying before, I am and was a full-time teacher, but I am a teacher, um, and teaching for almost around 20 years now, and mostly with young kids. And so I thought, I'm going to write a children's book. I've been around kids' books forever. I got my own 2 kids in their 20s, and I'm like, this will be easy. So I took on the writing goal of writing a kids' book. And back in 2018-19, um, I discovered that what I ate, the food I eat, um, needs to be looked at, and I need to get help on that. So I went through a program called Healthy Transformations, and I did that for 4 or 5 years actually, and it's a year-long course. And so I learned lots of important information about, food is my medicine, and it is a long journey and nowhere perfect even to this day of what I put in my mouth in regards to food. However, it's an understanding of what food does for my body. And so I wanted to turn that information into a kid's book. And so I wrote and illustrated. So that was kind of my goal. So it's called I Know, because kids know everything. I know the answer, I know. So that's why it's called I Know, and it's choices about nutrition. And it is meant to be a book to encourage discussion and conversation. So it kind of hits two areas or two interests of children. So the nonfiction readers, because I've got like fabulous little pictures of, I'll just try and find a good one here for you, of the real deal of animals, right? So I got some real photos in there that the nonfiction sort of interest. And then I also have more of that, what's the word, fictional interest of things. So, you got a squirrel eating French fries, and then it's literally very simplified. It's meant to encourage conversation, like why is the word no by the French fries, and why is that little acorn nut, and then why. And so having kids, just like our red line, green line, having kids come to this understanding of, oh, I need to, like all animals, I need to eat this and this in order my body to work best. And so by the end, there is humans at the end of the book, and sort of that top priorities on what you need to eat to have kind of the healthiest life you can, to be happy, to play with your friends, and all that sort of stuff. So I've tested this out in several kindergarten grade 1, 2 classes, and it has been received very well. And kids love it. They're very in tune to the whole book, and I'm super excited to get this out. And I plan to develop some more support for teachers in the classroom as well in regards to this book. So, and I'm excited to have a second children's book coming out in the next couple of months. It's called One Cookie at a Time. And I know everybody looks at me, cookie, I thought you were the health girl. It's because it's a actual amazing memory I have as a teacher of kindergarten kids. This little girl named Lily, and I won't tell you the whole story because you'll have to wait to see, but Lily came up to me as a kindergarten student and wanted to do something amazing. And so I supported her in that leadership sort of initiative she had, and this is her story. So that's my second kids book. I'm super excited to get that out too.
Such a beautiful way to teach kids about food and how to make the right choices is really to help them with the children's book. As I can see, that's also a coloring book as well.
It can be. Yeah.
Lisa, Scott, thank you so much for being on my podcast. Thank you for sharing your work with our audience. Where can people learn more about you? You mentioned your website. Is there any other way to connect with you?
We have various ways. One of the big ways you can find out all about us, everything from our coaching program, our books, to our own podcast as well, is on our website, forwardwalkingchoices.com. That's where you can connect with us, set up a meeting with us if you're interested for coaching, or if maybe you'd like to be a guest on our podcast as well, Soulmates and Suitcases. And you can find Nina on our podcast as well. So we're excited to have her there.
Also, Soulmates and Suitcases on Spotify
Yeah,
and at the Brearleys
you'll
and
find us.
YouTube.
And we're
You
all
can
over all
find us if you
social
want to see
media.
what we're all over social media too.
Yes. And you can learn more about us. If you don't want to connect, read our books. You will know a lot about us by reading them.
Definitely. Your books are also available on your website so people can read.
Yes.
Lisa and Scott, thank you so much for being
Thank
on my
you.
podcast. Thank you for the amazing work you do. And especially thank you for the children's book. I love children's book. I'm a huge fan of children's book. Thank you once again for being here. And everybody who is listening or watching, thank you so much for being here. If this episode inspired you, touched you in any ways, please share with your friends and family members. We grow together, we heal together. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, be brave, shine your light, because the world needs that love and light inside of you. I'm sending you lots of love and big hug. Bye for now.